but I gave my best to you. For 50 years.
So right now, President Biden on vacation in California, jetting out the DNC late last night after an emotional farewell, capping off his dramatic exit from the race. Live here in Chicago in his personal capacity, here is Walt's campaign surrogate, Pete Buttigieg. Sir, thank you so much for giving us some time this morning.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
It was a big showing for the president yesterday. They put him at 11 o'clock, though, last night. And a lot of people were saying, we love you, Joe. We love you, Joe. But he's no longer the nominee. A lot of questions, though, about it, because the New York Times writes that all the cabinet meetings that the president has been having have been scripted. They said 9 months since the latest cabinet meeting. Axios writes that he's only available for work between the hours of 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then the Wall Street Journal says when it came down to the debt ceiling negotiations back in 23, Nancy Pelosi had to take over it. Is this the reason why he's no longer the nominee for your party?
It's funny. Sometimes I feel like conservative media and the Republican Party still think they're running against Joe Biden. Mm-hmm. He had an opportunity last night to demonstrate his achievements, right? The fact that he is responsible, for example, mm-hmm. for the biggest run of job growth in the history of the American presidency. I think in any job, but especially the presidency, you want to be judged by your results. People want to nitpick the show flow of a cabinet meeting mm-hmm. when we have had a country that, when he inherited it, was in a condition where you couldn't even approach the Capitol because of the violent assaults on the Capitol by Trump supporters. Not just getting our country moving on from that, not just getting our country back on its feet from the COVID collapse, but all of the other things that he did, including, by the way, delivering the infrastructure bill that Donald Trump promised and failed to deliver.
I know you got the talking
points. You want to go off how many hours he's in which office at what time?
But these weren't conservative outlets. I guess you could say the Wall Street Journal is, but
but you're a conservative outlet. And the first thing you're asking about is what time is it a cabinet meeting instead of his achievement.
I just want to know, when did you guys know that the president was unfit to be on you?
The president is not unfit.
So why is he not the nominee right now?
Because he did something that Donald Trump cannot comprehend, which is to put his ego aside.
I just want to get my question out. Why do you guys wait to the last minute to switcheroo after everyone saw? Can I just finish my question? And I'll let you answer, Mr. Secretary. But you guys waited until after the debate, where everybody in America saw what happened that day. Mm-hmm. And all of these reports are coming out that you guys knew behind the scenes, the cabinet members were frustrated, that he couldn't do the negotiations with Nancy Pelosi, and that she had to take it over.
What negotiations with Nancy Pelosi? When was
the debt ceiling in 2003, when it came down to the debt ceiling negotiations, that she had to take it over because he didn't know the talking point.
He won the debt ceiling negotiations. That's the point. You can go over whether he slips up and says one name when he wants to say another name, or you can look at what he's actually accomplished as president. It turns out he's really good at being president of the United States.
So let's talk about the record of the Biden-Harris administration. When you look at inflation, it's up 19.4%. When you look at the southern border, it's 8.1 encounters. When you look at crime, violent crime across 66 major cities, it's up almost 10% at 9.6%. Is that a record that you can run on?
Well, certainly the Biden-Harris record of bringing crime down compared to why crime went up under Donald Trump. And I often wonder, whether viewers of this network are aware that violent crime went up under Donald Trump. I think that deserves more coverage so we can ask ourselves why. And some of that has to do with policy, but some of that has to do with the message we send. When you have Donald Trump, an unrepentant, convicted criminal, mm-hmm. running against a prosecutor like Kamala Harris, we have an opportunity to send a message about whether we're serious on law and order in this country or whether it's a talking point, whether it's just something people try to use as a political theme for partisan gain. You want to talk about inflation? Inflation went up in every country after COVID, but we brought inflation down in this country. Of course, the most important question, every election is about the future, right? And in the future, economists predict that the Trump plan will increase costs for American families by $3,900. So why would we go back to somebody's going to make it worse?
I don't want you to think that the crime issue or inflation issue is something new, because I've been covering it for years. I go out there and talk with voters every single day.
So you did cover the increase in crime under Trump.
Yesterday, I had the opportunity to talk with a mother. She's not a Republican. She's someone that would vote for a Democrat most of the time. Many of the people that are complaining are actually Democrats. Mm-hmm. This is what she said yesterday when I asked her about her son. Watch.
How can I vote for somebody who I don't feel like has my back? Or any parent who lost their child's back? You want me to vote for you? What are you going to do for me? You say what you're going to do, but when you get in office, do you really do what you said you're going to do? I don't think so. Because this crime has been going on for decades, and it's getting sickening to watch parents on TV crying about the loss of their child.
So with respect to you, Mr. Secretary, the people that are being killed in places all over the country, they look like me, they don't look like you. And they're upset with the Democratic Party not taking it seriously. You guys sent the cavalry
Not taking it seriously.
Hold on, let me finish. You guys sent the cavalry. You guys sent the cavalry in for you guys for your protection. But the people of Chicago don't see that on a day-to-day basis. What are you guys gonna do to stop the bloodshed in our community?
Well, first of all, I was mayor of a city that faced that kind of pain. The toughest part of the job was dealing with gun violence, and the most heartbreaking part of the job was comforting or trying to comfort mothers who just wanted their child back. And the big question, I think, for politics, for policy, for media, is who is going to help them versus who is going to use them. The questions she's asking are the exact question any citizen should be asking, which is when you take office.
What do you mean?
Are you going to
Are you
keep your
saying that
promises?
mother is being used?
I'm saying that mother is asking the exact right question. And the question is, what are you going to actually do when you come into office? Now, we're getting a lot of people
just tell me what you guys are going to do. Just tell me what you guys are.
I'll tell you exactly
what you've
what we're going to
done to stop the bloodshed.
Actually confront gun violence. 90% of Americans, more than 80% of Republicans, think we ought to at least be doing universal background checks. But Donald Trump says no. The Republican Party says no. You talk about assault weapons, something that made a difference when that assault weapons ban contributed to the reduction in crime. I remember coming to Chicago as a kid. And by the way, even though some media only want to talk about the worst and most painful things that go on in our city, Chicago is a proud city. Chicago is an extraordinary city. But I do remember coming here when crime and murder was off the charts, and the work that went on to bring it down from those levels that we saw in the past, the work that's going on to save lives right now is something that deserves the backing.
There was
of the
over
president.
20 people shot last week, 5 people shot over the weekend.
Then why would we elect leaders who won't do anything about gun violence?
Well, it's the Democrats that run the city. Name the Republican that is in charge.
All right, but this is really important, right?
No, tell me.
I will tell you.
One Republican in charge of Chicago.
Well, hold on.
Name them.
Listen to me, because not only did we have those levels of crime under Democratic and Republican leaders, right? But people try to cherry pick this for partisan purposes. You want to play that game?
It's not partisan.
We can talk about
As
how.
I told you, Mr. Mayor, they look like me, not you.
Yeah,
It's
and so is the case in Boston, where there is a much lower murder rate, and also a Democratic mayor. We could talk about how the murder rate in Mississippi is double what it is in Illinois. Now, I could go around saying that the murder rate in Mississippi is double what it is in Illinois because Mississippi has a Republican governor and Illinois has a Democratic governor. But you and I both know it just doesn't work that way.
I got you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you so much. I want to go to the Kamala economic agenda. This is some of the criticism that has come out. The Washington Post editorial board said on Friday, the Times demands serious economic ideas. Harris supplies gimmicks. CNN Business says on Friday, Harris plans to stop price gauging could create more problems than it solved. The Hill says as of Friday, Kamala's economic plan is about to drop and high prices are here to stay. I talked to one voter yesterday. This is what he had to say about proposing ideas to address our community. Let's watch.
I don't think I want to vote for Kamala just like that either, and I'm a Democrat.
So why is that? Do you feel like she has released a plan to fix the community or anything like that?
Not at all. I feel like she hasn't spoken about things that she wants to do as far as making it better.
You can see, Mr. Secretary, I go speak to average day people. He's a Democrat. He may even vote for Kamala Harris, but he says there's no plan been released.
Well, a plan's been released, but it's our job to communicate that to every voter. We need to make sure that they understand what we're going to do to maintain the historic job growth. And we need to lay out the contrast, right? Ask people, why was job growth so much worse under Donald Trump than it is today under Biden-Harris? And again, most importantly, like every election, it's about the future. Now, we want to talk about prices. We want to talk about inflation.
Economists think things are going well right now?
Well, definitely a lot better than they were under Donald Trump, right? I grew up in the industrial Midwest. I saw weeds pushing up between the asphalt of parking lots of factories. They told us those union jobs were never coming back. They told us that we were done making things. That's changed. We have a manufacturing boom today.
Yeah.
compared to the manufacturing recession that we experienced under Donald Trump. And that was before COVID, let alone, of course, all the jobs that were lost after that. But every election is about the future. And in the future, economists estimate that Trump's plan to tax goods coming into this country will increase costs on a typical family by $3,900. We disagree with that.
You're going to have a great opportunity today. You got a speech tonight to lay out the future for the party. We look forward to seeing you, Mr. Secretary. Thank you so much for giving us some time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me in.